Hello and welcome back to this channel. For the last couple of weeks, I have been absent because of some travel engagement. Initially, I thought that while away, I would continue publishing these videos, and that is why in the last video, I said once I get settled down, I would publish the video that concerned the analysis of the cutoff numbers for the month of February 2025. Unfortunately, my tight schedule did not allow me to do so, and so I just decided to put everything that had to do with video production by the side until I return. Now that I have returned, I'm back to continue providing you with information and education concerning the Diversity Visa Program, especially the DV 2025 program. Now, those of you who follow me will remember that the last video that I published on this channel concerned the cutoff numbers that we applied during the month of February 2025 as part of the DV 2025 program. So what we are going to do is to continue from exactly where we stopped. In other words, the video that should have followed that video was the analysis video, the video analyzing or taking a closer look at the cutoff numbers to apply during the month of February 2025. And so that is what I'm going to do in today's video. So let's go straight into it. Now, it has been a couple of weeks since the last visa bulletin was published. And so all of you guys are aware of the cutoff numbers that were applied during the month of February 2025. And in addition to that, I guess you are also aware that the cutoff numbers or those cutoff numbers were entirely repeated. In other words, the cutoff numbers that were established for the month of January 2025 were maintained in their entirety for the month of February 2025. That's the major issue that should be discussed when it comes to those cutoff numbers. And so that is what we are going to talk about in today's video. The question is, why were the cutoff numbers established for the month of January 2025 maintained for all of the regions and exception countries for the month of February 2025? Now, there are a couple of points to consider or a couple of reasons why that happened. And so I'm going to share with you those different reasons. I have carried out a lot of education concerning the Diversity Visa Program on this channel. And so those of you guys who have been following for some time now are aware of some of the answers that I'm going to provide concerning the maintaining of the cutoff numbers for the month of February 2025. The first factor that is responsible for the maintaining of the cutoff numbers for the month of February 2025 is the underlying principle that governs the movements in the cutoff numbers. I've had to explain that on several occasions on this channel. I said to you guys that the cutoff numbers are moved by the visa office depending on the number of cases that are eligible or current for interview. I explained to you guys that whenever you have so many cases that are already current for interview or eligible for interview, the visa office is not supposed to move the cutoff numbers, because moving the cutoff numbers will make more cases current or eligible for interview. Why make more cases current for interview when you already have so many cases that you have not yet dealt with? And then on the other hand, the cutoff numbers are increased or should be increased in case there are only a few cases that are current or eligible for interview, because as we said previously, increasing the cutoff numbers will make new cases current or eligible for interview, and those new cases will be added to the few that were previously current for interview to be interviewed in the month concerned. That's the principle. And so whenever we see the cutoff numbers not increased at all by the visa office, that's the first thing that comes to our mind. We say to ourselves that there are so many cases current or eligible for interview, and that is why the cutoff numbers were not increased. Although on some occasions, the visa office does not respect that. But in this particular case, they actually respected it. And that takes us to the second reason or the second point, which concerns the visa bulletin that was published just before the last visa bulletin. Now, when that visa bulletin was published, I announced or shared with you guys that I did not expect to see increases in the cutoff numbers in the following visa bulletin, which is the last visa bulletin that we saw earlier in this month of December. And the reason was obvious. We saw in the visa bulletin that was published during the month of November 2024 that all of the regions and exception countries received some increase in their cutoff numbers. And based on that, at the time, I said that it was not likely that we see increases in the next visa bulletin. So it is actually no surprise that in the visa bulletin that was published earlier in this month of December 2024, there were no increases at all in all of the regions and exception countries. So if we were to answer the question, was maintaining all of the cutoff numbers in the last visa bulletin justified? We can say generally, yes, it was justified. And that because of the two reasons that I just shared with you, especially the second one, the fact that all of the regions and exception countries received increases and high increases in some cases in the previous visa bulletin. So that is it concerning this major issue that concerns the last visa bulletin that was published earlier in this month of December 2024. Now, there is another thing that looking at the visa bulletins since the month of October up to now that I should also bring to your attention. We saw that the cutoff numbers that were published for the month of October were repeated for the month of November, and for the most part, repeated for the month of December. And then that was followed by increases, high increases in some cases, and we have returned to a repeat of the cutoff numbers. So could it be that the visa office has decided to apply this approach to the DV 2025 program? In other words, taking all of the regions and exception countries as a block, increasing their cutoff numbers altogether, repeating them a couple of months later. That is what we have so far observed in the DV 2025 program. So let's see what happens in the upcoming visa bulletins, a couple of them, to see whether this trend will continue, and then we can confirm that indeed that is what the visa office has decided concerning the DV 2025 program. But one thing I must also underline is that just in case that is the case, that trend will not continue up to the end of the program, because sooner or later, each region and exception country will have to go their own way from the fact that they all have their own realities. In other words, in one region, you could have more cases current for interview, whereas in the next region, that may not be the case. So those are my thoughts concerning the visa bulletin that was released earlier in this month of December 2024. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm back. And so let's continue discussing concerning the DV 2025 program. Thanks for watching this video. See you very soon, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.